Vision is a critical part of right focus because it describes your preferred future and becomes an overriding long-term goal. Vision answers questions like, where do I see myself going? Where do I want to be in the next 5 to 10 years of my life? A vision differs from a mission in that a mission statement describes the essence of a person, team, or organization. It is not an overriding goal that once achieved, changes. Mission statements usually last a lifetime. A good vision sets a direction that you can track and measure, and once you've reached that vision, it's time to create a new one in order to keep growing as a person and as a company. A good example of the distinction between a personal mission and a vision is the movie Back to the Future. You might remember when Back to the Future starts. You see the opening scene where Michael J. Fox, who plays the character Marty McFly, enters Professor Emmett Brown's home. And we see the professor has hooked up all these gadgets. He's hooked up clocks and various apparatus together. And as you follow this apparatus, it winds up at an electric can opener. So at precisely 8 in the morning, all the apparatus goes off, and it culminates in that little can opener opening up a can of dog food for the professor's dog, Einstein. We see before ever meeting the professor that he loves to invent things. It becomes very clear over the course of the movie that the professor's real mission, his purpose in life, is about inventing. So as the plot expands, we learn that the Professor Brown has a vision for his next invention, to be the first person to explore the past, the future, and be able to come back to the present. In other words, time travel. Professor Emmett Brown's vision was to travel throughout time. And he accomplishes this vision, and he and Michael J. Fox share some really fun and dangerous adventures traveling through time together. The professor used his passion for inventing to fuel that vision of time travel. Once he achieved his vision, he went on to invent other things. And of course, we got the pleasure of seeing new sequels to the original movie. To determine your personal vision, it's important to be a time traveler too. Go back to your past and remember a time when you had a dream of what you wanted to do or be. Relive the excitement. Let yourself feel it. Jot down what you're remembering in your workbook or on a piece of paper or on your computer. And then I'd like you to go to the present right now. Just take a second to reflect on what are some of the most important things to you right now. What direction do you want to go in? Take a couple minutes here to jot down your response. Now, I'd like to take you to the future. And in order to do that, I'd like to ask you to take a couple of deep breaths. Inhale through your nose and exhale through your mouth. Now I'd like you to close your eyes and imagine that it's 5 years into the future. And when you wake up, your highest wishes for your life are realized. What do you see? Where are you living? Where are you working? As you have conversations with other people around you, what are they saying to you? What has happened in that time span between where you were and where you are now? What is happening right now in the future that makes you feel successful, fulfilled in your life? What is happening for those you love and care about? When you're ready, come back to the present. Now, I'd like you to write a specific and detailed account of what you saw. When you finish writing this description, we're going to come back and talk a little bit more about defining your vision. You might want to shut your DVD off now. Writing your detailed description of what you saw in the future is much like this Asian screen. You probably saw a variety of different scenes as you were talking to people in the future, as you were taking a look at what was bringing you fulfillment, what meant something to you. And just as we have a collection of different descriptions or pictures here, we want you now to take a look at what it is the common theme across all the pictures might be. If you had to pick an overriding goal to describe where you see yourself going in the future, what might that be? Let me share with you some real-life examples of the vision statements that some people I've coached have come up with. So here, when they were asked, what is your top overriding goal that you see for yourself? Some of the examples. I worked with one person who wants to be a best-selling novelist. A second person I coached had a very clear plan to become president of the company in 7 years. And then lastly, one of the people I coached wanted to build a community through the development of a joint vision and execution of a plan that takes the organization to an entirely new level of growth. Here's some final questions to help you determine if your vision statement is truly an inspiring and overriding goal for you. Let's take the Vision Fit test. Ask yourself these questions. 1, is your vision about the future? 2, does your vision create enthusiasm and get you excited about committing to it? 3, is your vision about setting a direction that can be measured or benchmarked? 4, does your vision reflect your uniqueness? 5, can you communicate your vision with passion? If not, review it again and tweak your vision statement as much as you need to until it feels right for you. Next, we're going to talk about how to develop a vision for your team or organization. Unlike a mission statement, which describes your personal or organizational purpose, a vision statement for your team or organization sets a standard. It's an overriding goal that you aspire to. But once it's fulfilled, it's critical to have another compelling vision statement in the queue. Vision answers the question, where do we see ourselves going? When John Kennedy said, "A man on the moon by the end of the decade," that was an inspiring vision. NASA took that to heart and could visualize it and benchmark it. And we, in fact, did have a man on the moon before the end of the decade. Now, some say that the reason vision became more difficult for NASA after that is the space program floundered because it didn't really have another compelling vision in the queue. Involving others in developing a vision is important because your team helps you shape an attractive and successful vision for your future. And this creates mutual ownership across the organization. The first step in developing a vision is to bring together key stakeholders to reflect on the most positive, best future state that they can see for your team or for your company. Here are some of the kinds of questions that you want to ask. Very similar to our last exercise where we projected into the future, you want to do a similar thing with your team. So the question becomes, if you were transported 5 to 10 years into the future, and your highest wishes for this team or organization were realized, what would you see? Imagine yourself waking up in the future 5 to 10 years out, and as you walk around the company, notice what people are saying. What are they doing? What are they accomplishing together? What other customers, people in your industry, employees, the media, what are others saying about what you and the organization or team have accomplished? Let's say you've made the cover of one of your favorite magazines. What's the headline? And what's the story about? Pause here for a moment and take some notes regarding what you're seeing. And when you use this process in your groups, it's important that before you all start talking about what you saw, that you take time to, again, jot down a specific description of exactly what you saw when you were walking around in the future, no matter how far-fetched. Be as detailed and as specific as you can. Now, as you review what you've written, ask yourself the following questions. 1. What did I see as I walked around the organization in the future? What were people working on? What were they talking about? What challenges or obstacles did we overcome? What are others, customers, our industry, employees, the media, the community, saying about us? What have we accomplished together? And what are some of the insights that I've gained that I didn't see before?